You're listening to the WrestleHavoc Podcast on YouTube, where we discuss everything in and outside of the squared circle. We talk all that goes on in the realm of WWE and AEW every week. And now, here's your host, the one that will give you a reality check on pro wrestling, Flamin' Ricky DeReyes. This is the WrestleHavoc Podcast.
What's up, everybody? It is Flamin' Ricky DeReyes right here on the WrestleHavoc Podcast, here to review AEW Collision from July 15th, 2023, coming to us from Calgary, Alberta, Canada. What can I say about this show? This show was frickin' phenomenal, and it had to do with only one match. And of course, I'm talking about the 2 out of 3 falls match between FTR and Bullet Club Gold. That match was off the fucking charts. If you honestly say that that match is the match of the year, I can't really get mad at you for saying that, because both teams knocked it out of the fucking park. The atmosphere in Calgary, man. You know, I know a lot of people have been saying, bro, this Canadian tour is really doing nothing for AEW, especially with the ticket sales, and they really need to get out of, Canada, all that stuff. I totally get it. But, bro, all you people at the Saddle Dome in Calgary, you guys were fucking phenomenal. The crowd was invested in what they were watching with FTR and Bullet Club Gold. This 2 out of 3 falls match, man, I don't even know how to explain this, but, this was tag team wrestling at its finest. You know, AEW has been struggling a little bit when it comes to the tag team division. I've been very critical of the tag team title reign of FTR recently, because if you think about it, I've been saying in the past couple of weeks on Collision, they are really doing a lot of stuff with CM Punk and Bullet Club Gold, but primarily when it comes to the tag team titles, they haven't really been doing a lot with the tag team championships. But this match right here is exactly the type of matches that FTR really need to be in. We need more of this on AEW TV. I know we get that a lot, but bro, this match was everything. The near falls, the falls that we got in the match, the first fall, when Jay White got the pin for the first fall, the crowd went absolutely apeshit. If I could say anything about this whole match, this match did absolutely wonders for Jay White. They booked Jay White like a fucking killer in this match. He kicked out 3 straight times at some point in the match. It was absolutely insane. If you want to see how AEW views Jay White, they view him clearly as a top-level guy, and they showcase that very well in this 2 out of 3 falls match. Absolutely phenomenal stuff. Of course, not only we had the 2 out of 3 falls match, we also had the finals of the Owen Hart Cup tournament for both the men and the women. We had, I was about to say Athena. Athena lost on Rampage. We had Willow Nightingale defeat. Who did she defeat? I lost my train of thought. I'm so excited talking about the 2 out of 3 falls match that I literally lost my train of thought. Who did she defeat? Oh, yeah, that's right. She beat Ruby Soho. Willow Nightingale beat Ruby Soho in the finals of the Owen Hart Cup tournament, as well as Ricky Starks shockingly getting the win over CM Punk in the finals of the Owen Hart Cup tournament. Very interesting regarding Ricky Starks winning the tournament. A lot of people were talking about CM Punk getting the win and how it's a little bit predictable for CM Punk to win. But if you really think about it, I think Ricky Starks winning is definitely the right decision to make. Not only that, the way he won, very heelish tendencies by Ricky Starks. Could we be on the verge of a Ricky Starks heel turn? Honestly, I feel like when it comes to a heel turn, yes, he was a heel just last year, and he turned babyface last year after splitting up with Team Taz and then going into that feud with Powerhouse Hobbs. But let's be honest with ourselves. What has AEW done with Ricky Starks as a babyface after the MJF match? Let's be honest with ourselves. Yeah, he had a match with Chris Jericho later on, but let's be real, folks. I feel like heel Ricky Starks works so much better than babyface Ricky Starks. I think he's more himself, if you really think about it. But we're going to be talking about that right here on the Collision Review. Overall, I thought Collision was great. And no, I'm not going to be covering the Battle of the Belts portion of this show because clearly, if you think about it, Battle of the Belts was exactly what it was. It was Battle of the Belts, a show nobody gives a single shit about. So I'm only going to be covering the Collision portion of this review. When it came to the TNT title match between Luchasaurus and Shawn Spears, I immediately tuned out as they made their entrances. So no, I'm not going to be covering Battle of the Belts. Battle of the Belts is just completely irrelevant in my opinion. But Collision was absolutely fantastic. Ian Riccaboni replaced Kevin Kelly on the show tonight because I believe Kevin Kelly was in Japan. I believe they're doing the G1 Climax right now. So that's why he wasn't there. But Ian Riccaboni was absolutely phenomenal. I'm a big fan of Ian Riccaboni. Also, him being paired with Caprice Coleman on the Ring of Honor shows, I think that has been great as well. Ian Riccaboni and Nigel McGuinness, they're just a phenomenal pairing. Again, the difference in production, the difference in styles, not only in just the wrestling, but the creative process, but also the commentary. This is what makes Collision so special, and I hope that AEW continues on with what they're doing with Collision, man. This show, I believe we're on week 5 right now on Collision. Collision really hasn't missed a step. Collision, if you really think about it, Collision is actually a much better show than Dynamite because, again, when it comes to AEW Dynamite, even though I do like AEW Dynamite ever since, it made its debut back in October of 2019, my biggest, takeaway from Dynamite was they crammed too much stuff in 2 hours. A big moment would happen, and then all of a sudden they'd immediately go to the next segment. You can't work like that. When it comes to Collision, they just let things flow, they take things slowly, and they build things up the way that they should be. And when it comes to, Collision on this show, they really focused a lot on the Owen Hart Cup tournament, and they really focused a lot on the 2 out of 3 falls match that we saw between FTR and Bullet Club Gold, that being Jay White and Juice Robinson. But yeah, those are my initial thoughts on AEW Collision. I'm going to be diving deep when it comes to this show right here on the AEW Collision review. Before I get on with all this craziness regarding AEW Collision, make sure to like and subscribe to the WrestleHavoc Podcast right here on YouTube, in which we discuss everything in and outside of the squared circle. Make sure to like and subscribe for more content, and as the freaking referee would say, ring, ring, ring that damn bell for more notifications. Also, if you guys had missed it, the WWE SmackDown review is up on the channel. I completely missed the thumbnail right here, but never mind. The SmackDown review is up on the channel. Of course, I talk about Jey Uso standing his ground. Of course, we are leading towards Summerslam, which most likely we will be having Jey Uso versus Roman Reigns. Also, if you guys had missed the AEW Dynamite review, the link will also be on the description as well, where we found out the 5th member for not only the Blackpool Combat Club, but we also found out the 5th member for the Elite. We got Kota Ibushi officially making his AEW debut this Wednesday on TBS at the Blood and Guts match. Also, Pac will be teaming up. He is the 5th man for the Blackpool Combat Club. Blood and Guts it's going to be absolutely crazy. I'm definitely excited to see what's going to be happening when it comes to Blood and Guts. It's one of my favorite times in AEW of the year, Blood and Guts. The last 2 Blood and Guts matches were phenomenal. Hopefully this year they top both of the previous 2 Blood and Guts matches. But yeah, if you guys haven't checked out both of those reviews, the links of those 2 reviews will be in the description below. All right, let's kick off Collision, and the show immediately kicked off with the AEW World Tag Team title match between Bullet Club Gold, Switchblade Jay White, and Rock Hard himself, Juice Robinson, taking on Dax Harwood and Cash Wheeler, the current AEW World Tag Team Champions. FTR, one of the best tag teams in the modern era. This was a 2 out of 3 falls match. This match was off the fucking charts. Last week on Collision, they did a phenomenal job. I hated the fact that match was an eliminator match, but knowing what happened in this match, considering the fact that it was a 2 out of 3 falls match, holy shit, they blew last week's match completely out of the fucking water. Every time when a wrestler, succeeded in getting a pinfall attempt, bro, the crowd just went absolutely ballistic. I'm telling you guys, this was AEW's last show from this Canadian tour. They were in Calgary for Collision tonight. Bro, again, like I said in the beginning of this review, you guys knocked it out of the fucking park. Bro, this crowd at the Saddle Dome, I believe, it was almost a sellout, almost 5,000 people on the show. So they did pretty well, I believe, in ticket sales. I believe the Saddle Dome is like a 20,000 seat arena. Correct me if I'm wrong. But again, the ticket sales actually were selling well for this particular show, and the crowd in Calgary was off the charts. They were more energetic than they were last week in Collision. So, and next week is going to be very interesting because they're going to be in my backyard of New Jersey, and I'm actually going to be attending Collision next week. So I'm going to be giving you guys my thoughts on that. I'm thinking about doing a vlog, but I don't know if I'm going to be doing that. We're going to have to wait and see, but I will definitely give you guys my actual reactions from the show when I'm at Collision next Saturday. But without any further ado, let's talk about the match. Let's go after this spot by spot. So we start this 2 out of 3 falls match. Jay White and Dax Harwood start the match. Jay retreats to the outside, and then Cash chases after Bullet Club Gold. Keep in mind, another thing I completely forgot to mention, my dumbass, is that this match went over roughly over an hour. It didn't go over an hour, but it went almost a whole hour. This match took over the majority of the first hour. If anything, it took over the entirety of the first hour of Collision, which was fucking phenomenal. If this was a 2 out of 3 falls match, you know these guys were going to be delivering a classic. So Cash Wheeler chases Bullet Club Gold on the outside. Jay gets in the ring. Jay White misses a clothesline. Dax Harwood goes to the outside. We get a shoulder tackle by Dax, followed by an inside cradle. This match was very technical. We got a near fall. We got a side headlock takeover by Dax. A lot of side headlock takeovers, not only in this match, but in a lot of the other matches that took place on this show. We get a hip toss by Jay White, then another one. Juice Robinson makes the tag. He goes to the top, and he basically trolls Dax and casually drops down. He looked like he was going to go off the top rope, but instead he just dropped down, tricking Dax Harwood, which is fucking hilarious. Cash Wheeler makes the tag. Both lock up. We get the side headlock takeover by Cash. He continues to apply the side headlock. Juice then gets sent into the corner, but then he ends up hitting a back elbow. Cash then goes for the backslide. After that, we get a shoulder tackle by Cash. Juice gets taken to the outside. We got the first of many commercial breaks during this whole match. Once we're back from commercial break, Jay White is in control. After that, Dax later on regains control. He ends up hitting the Russian leg sweep. We get a cover by Dax and a near fall. We get a backbreaker by Dax Harwood. He applies the abdominal stretch on Switchblade Jay White, and then Dax holds onto the ropes. Dax goes on for the elbow. He hits an elbow. Cash then gets dropped on Jay White. We get a cover by Cash, who is the legal man, and a near fall. After that, we get a drop kick by Jay White on the knee of Cash Wheeler. After that, Mr. Juice Robinson makes the tag. Juice goes for repeated right hands, and then he hits that all-famous left hand. AEW has really been selling Juice Robinson's left hand for these past couple of weeks on Collision. He wrenches the side headlock on Cash Wheeler. After that, we get the side headlock takeover by Juice Robinson. Cash then runs into a shoulder tackle, but then Juice catches Cash in a roll-up attempt. We get a roll-up by Cash and a near fall. We then get a waistlock takedown by Cash. We get another near fall. Cash then trips Juice in a roll-up, but we get a near fall. And then he proceeds to pick Juice up and drops him down. Dax makes the tag, and then we get a chop by Juice on Dax. Once we're back in the ring, Dax hits a chop of his own, dropping Juice down to the mat. And when I'm telling you he dropped Juice down to the mat, I 100% meant it, man. Dax hit that chop. It was kind of similar when I believe it was Takeshita back in Forbidden Door hit that overhand fucking chop on, who was it? I was about to say Kojima. It wasn't Kojima. That was a CM Punk match. On Ishii. When he hit that chop on Ishii, Tomohiro Ishii, and Ishii just fucking knocked out. He got knocked out from that chop. That was basically what happened here. After that, later on in the match, Juice misses a chop. After that, Dax goes for a chop of his own. Dax goes for a snap suplex, then a leg drop. Later on, just the chops continue on. Jay continues to go for a series of chops in the corner on Dax. At this point, Jay White is the legal man. He stomps on Dax later on, but then Dax reverses and then lands into the other corner. Jay White ends up going for the DDT. DDT then by Jay White on Cash Wheeler as well. So at this point, Jay White is on a roll. We then get the running uppercut by Jay on Dax. He picks up Dax and he hits the driver. We get a cover into near fall. Dax then goes for a series of back elbows after. Then Jay White flatlines Dax. He goes for the deadlift German suplex. Then we get a cover and a near fall when Cash makes the save. Then he applies the side headlock. Dax drives Jay White into the corner. Then Jay hits a chop. Dax hits a chop of his own, but then both men go for a series of exchanges. Jay lands into a lariat by Dax Harwood, but then both men are down. Jay goes for the inside cradle, and we get a near fall. Dax fights off Juice. We get a roll-up by Jay, and we get a near fall. Cash tags in, but then Juice Robinson comes in, and this spot was fucking crazy. This was where they hit the first fall. So it looked like what happened was Juice comes in, and Cash was in the ring, and he looked like Cash Wheeler and Dax Harwood tried to go for the big rig. But what happened was, by accident, Cash knocks over Dax Harwood, leaving him on the outside. And what happens is Jay White immediately goes for the Blade Runner on Cash, and we get a cover by Jay. And Bullet Club Gold get the first fall in this 2 out of 3 falls match. The fact that they had Jay White pin Cash Wheeler, holy fucking shit. Bro, again, as I stated early on at the top of this review, they booked Jay White like a fucking killer in this match. Absolutely. If there's anybody that benefited from this match, it was Jay White. Once we're back in commercial break, Dax Harwood and Juice Robinson are in the ring. Juice then is in control. Dax then reverses Juice Robinson and hits a slam. We get a deep arm drag by Robinson, and then Jay White makes the tag. After that, we get a back body drop by Dax on Jay White. Cash makes the tag, and then Cash goes for the back elbow into the corner on Jay White. Then we get a chop by Dax into the corner, and then he ends up hitting a short arm lariat. We get a cover by Dax and a near fall. Later on, we got a snap suplex. After that, Cash goes for a senton. Then he goes for a second senton. Actually, no, not Cash. Juice. Juice goes for a senton, and then he goes for a second senton. And then we get a cover by Juice and a near fall. Waist lock by Juice on Cash. We get a front face lock by Juice Robinson, and then we get a backdrop by Dax Harwood. Jay White makes the tag, and then he goes after Cash Wheeler, followed by a neck breaker. After that, Jay drives his boot on Cash Wheeler, and then he slingshots Cash on the bottom of the bottom rope. How many times I said bottom? Jesus Christ. Juice then hits the DDT on Cash on the floor. Cash makes it back to the ring, but then Juice continues to be in control. We then get the snap suplex by Juice Robinson on Cash Wheeler, and then we get a cover and a near fall when Cash gets his foot onto the bottom rope. After that, later on in the match, senton by Juice on Cash. Then we get a second senton countered by Cash when he gets the knees up. We got a roll up by Cash and a near fall, but then Juice misses the elbow drop. Cash then proceeds to fight off Jay White and Juice Robinson, but then we get a sunset flip attempt by Juice Robinson. Jay White makes the tag, and then he wrenches the eyes of Cash Wheeler. Jay then runs into a boot by Cash. Jay White and Cash Wheeler go for a series of exchanges. Later on in the match, Jay White is back in control. He goes for a series of chops, and then he goes for the short arm lariat. We get a roll-up by Juice on Dax, and we get a near fall. Then we get a springboard crossbody by Dax and a kick-out. After that, we get a German by Dax. Goes for the second German. Robinson escapes, and then we get a back body drop on Jay White. Dax then picks up Juice and hits the Brain Buster, and we get a cover and a kick-out. Dax then applies the sharpshooter, but then Juice tries to fight back, and then he launches Dax Harwood off. At this point, Jay White makes the tag, and then he goes for the half and half into the corner. And then Juice takes Dax into the corner. We get a cover by Jay and a near fall. Jay White and Dax Harwood go for a series of exchanges. We get a slap by Jay White. And this spot was crazy. So Jay White slaps the shit out of Dax Harwood. And Dax Harwood wasn't playing. He retaliated by literally choking the shit out of Jay White. That's how sadistic Dax Harwood could be, man. Dax then gets taken to the outside, but then Jay takes Cash, and then Juice goes to the top. We then get the sunset flip by Dax off the top, but he doesn't quite get the. And this was where the craziness started to really take into effect. So we get a sunset flip by Dax off the top, but he doesn't quite get the sunset flip. And then all of a sudden, Cash, I believe it was a lariat rolling Dax through so he could go for the roll up, and Dax, goes for the roll up on, I believe it was Jay White, and Jay White kicks out at 2. This is where they booked Jay White like a fucking unstoppable killer. So Jay White kicks out at 2, right? Cash tags in. He picks up Jay. It looks like he's about to go for the Razor's Edge and Neckbreaker combination. And what happens is we get a cover, and they actually manage to do that, and we get a cover, and we get a kick out, once again by Jay White. Cash then picks up Jay, and then he takes him to the top. We get a chop by Cash, but then both FTR chop on Jay White on the top. Then FTR goes for the Powerplex. They go for the Powerplex, but then Jay White gets the knees up when Cash Wheeler goes for the splash off the top. And what happens is Juice off the top goes for a frog splash out of nowhere. Because if you think about it, Juice Robinson was kind of taken out earlier in the match. Immediately, Juice Robinson comes back and goes for the frog splash. He drags Jay to go for the cover, and we get a cover on Dax, and we get a close 3. And it looked like Bullet Club Gold was going to get the win entirely in this 2 out of 3 falls match. but it did not. Then after that, Juice tags in, Cash goes for the blind tag, and then Juice gets caught in the big rig. And we get a cover, and FTR get the first fall, and the scoreboard is 1-1. So once we're back from commercial break, there's just chaos all over the ringside area. We get a series of chop exchanges by Jay White and Dax on the apron. After that, we get a backdrop by Jay White on Dax on the apron, countering the pile driver attempt. And then Dax picks up Jay White, and then Jay goes for the head scissors, taking Dax over the guardrail on the crowd. Then, after that, both Jay White and Dax Hart are getting detained by AEW medical personnel. After that, we get a chop by Dax. Jay White goes for a chop of his own. After that, both men proceed to fight it out. Dax goes for a suplex on the fucking floor. A suplex on the floor. The first of many suplexes off the fucking floor. So what happens after that? After the suplex on the floor, both Dax and Cash pick up Jay White and suplex him on the ringside area floor, and then they do the same on Juice Robinson. Both Jay and Juice make it back to the ring at the count of 9 because they were about to be counted out. Then both teams are up, the crowd is just popping, and both teams are facing off with one another, and they just brawl and just completely fight it out. The crowd is just going absolutely fucking ballistic. After that, once we're back from commercial break once again, Jay White in Canada. You want to see how great of a heel Jay White is? Any heel can do this. But the fact that Jay White did this, he didn't even actually hit the sweet chin music, but Jay White was tuning up the band in Canada. And you know how people in Canada absolutely hate Shawn Michaels. So he was tuning up the band. And nope, Jay White, instead of going for the sweet chin music, this man is such an asshole. He applies the goddamn sharpshooter on Dax Harwood. What a sadistic son of a bitch. After that, Jay White drags Dax into the corner. Dax makes it to the ropes, and then we get a chop by Dax, followed by another chop by Dax, and then we get a right hand by Dax on Juice Robinson. He takes Jay to the top. After that, we get a chop to the back of Jay White. At this point, Dax goes to the top. He slams Jay White down. At this point, there are 5 minutes remaining in the match. Cash gets dragged to the outside by Juice Robinson. Then Dax is on the middle rope. Cash gets sent to the steel steps, and then we get a cover by Jay White and a kick out. After that, Jay takes Dax for the Blade Runner attempt, but then Dax escapes with a takedown, and he applies a sharpshooter of his own. So he applies the sharpshooter with a huge pop from the crowd, because we all know FTR loves the Hart family. They're big Bret Hart fans. So they apply the sharpshooter. And what happens, and this spot was fucking fantastic. Cash goes for the takedown on Juice because Juice actually came into the ring while Dax had the sharpshooter applied on Jay White. Cash takes down Juice, and what happens is both men apply the sharpshooter at the same fucking time, with both Jay White and Juice Robinson literally holding each other's hands, telling each other, don't fucking tap out. After that, Dax Harwood, at this point, they break up the sharpshooter, and Dax is selling his knee. What a great fucking moment that was. Juice then goes for the tag. Not the selling of the knee. I'm talking about the double sharpshooter. Then after that, Juice goes for the tag. Dax takes down Juice, and then he applies the sharpshooter. And when he applies the sharpshooter, finally, Juice Robinson taps out, and FTR retain the AEW World Tag Team Championships from Bullet Club Gold. This is really tough to kind of manifest because if you really think about it, this match was absolutely fucking crazy. I don't know what to say, but I mean, goddamn. This match was just out of this fucking world. Like, out of this fucking world. Both men just gave it their all in this match. Like, holy shit. This match went for a whole fucking hour. A whole fucking hour. And these guys just knocked it out of the park. Now, personally, I would have wanted Jay White and Juice Robinson to really get the win in this match. But with FTR winning the match, honestly, I'm not mad about it. Because if you really think about it, this match actually did more good for Jay White and Juice Robinson than a lot of other people tend to think. Because usually people, when a wrestler tends to lose a match, people always think, oh, this guy's buried. No fucking way both of these guys are buried. If anything, this match made Bullet Club Gold that much more stronger. That much more stronger. I'm being 100% honest with you. This match did more for Jay White than a lot of people even imagined. If there's anybody that got elevated from this match, it's Jay White. Jay White, I remember when people first were talking about Jay White coming into AEW, and when he came into AEW, they immediately paired him with Juice Robinson. And everybody was like, "Bro, why is he paired with Juice Robinson? Why is he starting his own Bullet Club faction here in AEW?" And at the time, I was like, it's not the best thing for Jay White, but it is what it is. But as soon as Collision started, as soon as Collision launched, bro, they've been booking Bullet Club Gold fantastically. The way that Jay White was getting murdered by FTR with, all those different, finishing moves that FTR was doing in the middle of the match, and Jay White kicked out like 3 fucking times in a row, clearly shows that Jay White is being booked like a fucking killer. Because Jay White, that's what he is. He is a killer, and he is a legit main event star. I guarantee you, Jay White will be a world champion within a year. I know that's a little bit far-fetched, maybe a little over a year, but he will be a world champion. Hell, I'll go even as far as to say this. Bullet Club Gold will be the top faction in AEW within a year. What they're doing with Bullet Club Gold is absolutely just fucking phenomenal. Even though they lost on Collision tonight, nonetheless, they absolutely killed it. Absolutely killed it. They went a whole hour in this match. A whole fucking hour. And the crowd in Calgary absolutely ate it up. Absolutely ate it up. FTR is one of the best tag teams in the world. Jay White and Juice Robinson are doing their thing. And also, even if they did win the AEW tag team titles, it would kind of create a weird dynamic because we already have a tag team in Bullet Club Gold. And it's not Jay White and Juice Robinson. It's the Guns, and the Guns are doing great things as part of Bullet Club Gold. If there's anybody that really deserves another shot at the AEW Tag Team titles, it's the Guns, because just by them joining Bullet Club Gold, the Guns are elevated further. This match was fucking phenomenal. Absolutely phenomenal. This was perfect. Could this be one of the best matches of the year? Honestly, if you think that way, I can't really blame you. We've had a lot of really good matches that are Match of the Year candidates. Off the top of my head, regarding AEW, Roosh versus Bryan Danielson a couple of months ago on Dynamite. We had Kenny Omega versus Will Ospreay at Forbidden Door. MJF versus Bryan Danielson in the Iron Man match. When it comes to WWE, holy fucking shit. Almost all the Bloodline stuff that we have seen, like the matches, like the Bloodline Civil War, those are all Match of the Year contenders. Sami Zayn versus Roman Reigns. Like, literally, there's so many matches across WWE and AEW right now that are fucking considered Match of the Year contenders. It's hard to really debate which one is a Match of the Year contender or which match is the Match of the Year. It's a pretty subjective topic to talk about. But nonetheless, man, if there's one thing that I can say about this match that I really haven't already said, this was one of the best AEW tag team title matches or AEW tag team matches in general that the company has ever produced. I shit you not. This match was so fucking good. It was damn near perfect. Damn near perfect. And I say that with a lot of great shit. I know. But this was on a different level. Absolutely on a different level. They gave it their all. This match elevated not only FTR, but more importantly, it elevated Jay White and Juice Robinson. More Jay White. Because really, if you think about it, Jay White is AEW's golden boy. He is going to get pushed so fucking hard. Collision has done Jay White fucking wonders. If anything, Bullet Club Gold and Jay White is literally my favorite thing on AEW TV right now. I'm literally, when I go to Collision next week at the Prudential Center, I'm going to get me a Bullet Club Gold shirt. I'm going to get me a Bullet Club Gold shirt. I'm going to get me a CMFTR shirt. Bro, you name it, I'm going to fucking buy it. I'm going to fucking buy it. These guys have sold me on this feud. Could we be seeing a third match with FTR and Jay White and Juice Robinson? Maybe. Could we be seeing it at All In, All Out? We have no idea. Honestly, at the end of the day, we have no idea what's going to be happening, whether or not we are going to be getting the third match between these two men. But if you think about it, if we don't get another match between these two teams, that's fine with me too. Because this match immediately topped what they delivered last week on Collision. And last week's match was great. Last week's match was awesome. But if you compare it to this match, fucking forget about it. This match blew last week's match out of the goddamn water. Out of the goddamn water. This match was phenomenal. Phenomenal work. Hats off to Dax Howard, Cash Wheeler, Jay White, and Juice Robinson. Y'all knocked it out of the park, and y'all worked your asses off. Hats off to them. This was probably one of the best tag team matches that I've seen this year. Moving on, we got a video package of the upcoming Blood and Guts match this coming Wednesday on Dynamite. After that, we got the finals of the women's side of the Owen Hart Cup tournament. We got Ruby Soho taking on Willow Nightingale in the finals. This was a fine match. It was not the best match. A lot of people really didn't really care about this match. If you really think about it, this match was kind of put it in a terrible position because of how good the 2 out of 3 falls match was. There was no way that this match was going to top it. Not only that, when it comes to the finals of the women's Owen Hart Cup tournament, I'm more invested in the men's Owen Hart Cup tournament than I am the women. Not to say that the women's side is bad. I'm just more invested in what they're doing on the men's side. That's just my opinion. And also, if you think about it, last year's finals between Ruby Soho and Britt Baker wasn't really that good. And this match was definitely better, and I genuinely believe the right woman won in Willow Nightingale. Willow Nightingale is starting to become one of my favorite women's wrestlers in AEW. I'm a big, big, big Willow Nightingale fan. I think she's phenomenal. And she's very over with the audience. The audience absolutely loves it when she makes her entrance, and everybody claps and shit. I love Willow Nightingale. I'm a big fan of her. But let's go through the match real quick. We get a kick by Ruby. At this point, Ruby's in control. Willow picks up Ruby, but then Ruby escapes. We get a shoulder tackle by Willow, but then Willow rolls through. We then get a suplex by Willow, followed by a second suplex, and I believe after that she hit a fisherman suplex. We get a cover and a near fall. Willow then goes for the hip attack in the corner. Then she gets sent into the corner, face first onto the turnbuckle. Then we get the knees by Ruby Soho. Once we're back from commercial break, Willow ends up going for the enziguri. After that, we get a series of clotheslines by Willow on Ruby. She ends up hitting a right and a chop repeatedly into the corner. Willow then runs into a back elbow, but then Willow picks up Ruby Soho. And then after that, she ends up hitting the running slam, and then we get a cover and a near fall. We then get a roll-up by Willow, and then we get a roll-up by Ruby. At this point, Ruby is up on the shoulders of Willow Nightingale. She ends up going for the roll-up, and we get a near fall. Willow then goes for the spine buster, but then Willow goes for the single-leg Boston Crab. Ruby then goes to the bottom rope, but then Ruby grabs the spray paint. Yes, we're doing the spray paint shit once again, which I absolutely fucking despise. The referee fixes the apron. Of all things, bro, the referee fucking fixes the apron. That is fucking stupid. If there's one complaint that I can give AEW when it comes to their matches, it's not really the matches themselves, it's the fucking referees. You know, the referees in a lot of these matches look so fucking stupid. They just do. I don't know why. It's something about it. And it's not their fault. It's not their fault. It's just the booking and the structure of the match that leads to that type of shit. But bro, the referees in a lot of these matches look so fucking stupid. Please, can we stop making the referees look dumb? Why would a referee fix the fucking apron? That is the dumbest shit ever, bro. If the ring apron is literally folded up on the mat, leave it there and focus on the goddamn match. Please focus on the goddamn match instead of fixing the goddamn apron. Please, Jesus Christ, bro. The referees look so stupid in AEW. I'm sorry. I like Aubrey Edwards. I like Bryce Ramsberg, but bro, sometimes they just look ridiculous. They just do. They put them in these stupid scenarios. Please, AEW, do not make these referees look stupid. Please. Nothing but respect to the referees. I love Aubrey. I love Bryce Ramsberg. But, bro, please, can we, stop making the referees look stupid? Please. Whatever. Moving on. Ruby gives Willow the spray paint, and Willow gets caught. So, it's basically Ruby Soho pulled in a Guerrero. After that, Ruby goes for the no future, and then we get a cover by Ruby and a near fall. Ruby once again has the spray paint, and she uses it without the referee looking. And then Willow goes for the pounce, shades of Monty Brown, period. After that, Willow goes for the powerbomb, and we get a cover, and Willow gets the win in the Owen Hart Cup tournament. Overall, this match, in my opinion, could have went either way. I wouldn't have gotten mad if Ruby got the win, but this is the second time in a row that Ruby Soho has lost in Owen Hart Cup finals. And if you really think about it, what does that do for the Outcasts? I'll give you the answer right now. It does absolutely nothing for the Outcasts because the Outcasts are absolutely completely fucking irrelevant on AEW television. It's not their fault. It's really the booking of the Outcasts. Remember when the Outcasts first formed? Think about this. Remember when the Outcasts first formed and everybody was talking about, oh my God, we're going to be getting the first ever women's blood and guts match. It's going to be the homegrown stars versus the veterans. And that shit led to nowhere. Every single women's match that you saw on Dynamite ended up in an either, like the match ended fully. Like it was like a full on one, no DQs or nothing. But like after every women's match every week on Dynamite, it would involve some sort of brawl with the Outcasts. It started to get so fucking redundant. The spray paint did not help either. I'm sorry, but I am not sold on the Outcasts whatsoever. I love Ruby Soho. I have nothing but the respect for Ruby Soho, but with all due respect, I am not sold on the Outcasts. Just not sold on the Outcasts whatsoever. That's just my opinion. But Willow getting the win, she deserves it. She busted her ass, and now Willow Nightingale is your 2023 Women's Owen Hart Cup Tournament winner. We got the Kings of the Black Throne in action. Yes, the Kings of the Black Throne, Malachi Black and Brody King against two jobbers. This was a fine match. Really, the story of this match was not really the match itself because it was a jobber squashing match. Nobody gave a shit. But really, the story was Andrade Idolo coming out. Looks like they were going to be setting up for a match in the future between Malachi Black and Andrade Idolo, which I pray to God now. They didn't, reveal the card for next week's Collision. But bro, if we can, they probably have revealed the card for next week's Collision. But if we're gonna be getting Malachi Black versus Andrade, book it next week in Newark, please, because I'm gonna be there. But they go against these two jobbers. Brody King starts. He chops his opponent. Brody no-sells the kick on the chest. Malachi makes the tag. We get a kick to the knee. We get a roll up by Malachi, and we get a near fall. He applies the knee bar, but then Brody takes out the other team member. He ends up going for the rolling senton, and then Brody is legal. He misses the slam. We get a hip toss by Brody, followed by a splash in the corner. Malachi Black goes for a beautiful German suplex. We get a near fall. Brody then sends his opponent to the outside, and then he sends him to the barricade. But then Andrade El Idolo comes out, wanting his mask. Then Malachi goes for the Black Mass. After that, we get a cover, and the Kings of the Black Throne win the match. After that, Julia Hart has Andrade's mask. Andrade wants to go and attack the House of Black, but what happens instead is Andrade gets pulled back by the referees, possibly maybe setting up a future match, possibly down the line. I don't know if AEW has... I know we're going to be getting the Acclaimed versus the House of Black. Actually, yeah, never mind. We're not going to be getting Andrade versus Malachi Black, unfortunately, because I believe at Battle of the Belts, Anthony Bowens stated that they're going to be challenging for the trios titles, so we're not going to be getting that, unfortunately. But still, we're definitely leading towards an Andrade versus Malachi Black match, which I definitely want to see. I'm definitely intrigued by that match because those two men have so much good chemistry with one another. I feel like when it comes to Collision, there's a new sense of focus for the House of Black that we really haven't seen before, and it really, and this is the benefit of having another 2-hour show. It gives talent that hasn't really been utilized to their full potential on Dynamite, really get utilized a lot and getting utilized really well on Collision. That's what I really enjoy about this. And of course, Andrade is doing great things. We didn't really see Miro on this show, unfortunately, but hopefully we'll see him next week. But again, an Andrade and Malachi Black match is definitely imminent, and I'm 100% down for that match. We got our main event. We got CM Punk taking on Ricky Starks in the finals of the Owen Hart Cup tournament on the men's side. Overall, this was a great match. I don't give a shit what anybody says, but CM Punk, ever since he made his return last month to AEW on the premiere of Collision, CM Punk has been looking phenomenally well in the ring. In that first week, I felt like he kind of struggled a little bit because, of course, he hasn't been in the ring in almost what was it, 10 months? Ever since September last year in his match against John Moxley, and I thought that match was phenomenal. The second match that he had with John Moxley last year in September at All Out was great. But, as the weeks later came on, of course, the second week of Collision, he looked great. The match that he had with Samoa Joe was phenomenal as well. But this match, CM Punk was on another fucking level, especially near the end. He looked really good in this match. I don't give a shit what anybody says about CM Punk. And yes, CM Punk is injury prone. I think we can all agree with that. CM Punk is injury prone. But when it comes to his in-ring ability in this particular match, I thought he looked phenomenal. I thought CM Punk looked great. But let's talk about this match. Let's go through the match. We got a bunch of side headlocks in the beginning. So we got a side headlock by Punk followed by a side headlock takeover. We got a bunch of those. We got side headlock takeover reversals by both men. We get the head scissors by Punk. Starks goes for the side headlock, followed by a shoulder tackle. Starks mocks Punk by doing the little GTS gesture, and then we get a side headlock by Starks on Punk, followed by a series of hip toss reversals by both men. Punk then manages to hit the hip toss on Starks, taking him to the outside. After that, Punk sits on the middle rope, bringing Starks back, kind of like Ric Flair style. Once you're back from commercial break, Ricky Starks is in control. Starks goes for the old school on the arm of CM Punk. Punk then gets sent to the outside, and then Starks does his pose in the ring. I remember, this is a little story, a little break on the match, but I can remember I was at the Rampage before Full Gear, and the hard camera shows me. I'm like right at the center. Ricky Starks, I believe, was wrestling Lance Archer, and Ricky Starks was in this fucking Jersey Devils shirt, or jersey, I should say, and he did the pose, and my dumbass was in the background, and I was doing this. If I can find it, I can show you guys, but that was pretty funny, but never mind. Let's go back to the match. We're getting off topic here. But after that, we get a series of hip toss reversals by both men. Punk manages to hit the hip toss on Starks, taking him to the outside. I already discussed that. Punk comes back into the ring. Both men lock up. We get a chop by Punk, and then we get a kick to the back of Ricky Starks. Punk goes for a slam on Starks, and then Punk goes to the top, and then he drives his elbow on the face of Ricky Starks. Then he ends up going for the Russian leg sweep, and then Starks runs into a leg lariat. After that, Punk goes for the slam on Starks, and then Starks comes back and drops Punk down. Once we're back from commercial break, we got a running knee by Punk into the corner. Punk then runs into a boot by Starks, followed by a tornado DDT attempt by Ricky Starks. It was actually blocked by CM Punk. We get a kick to the knee of Starks. Punk goes for the roll-up, and we get a near fall. Starks goes for another roll-up, and we get a kick by Punk, followed by a running knee. After that, he hits the short arm lariat, but Starks counters it. Then Starks manages to finally end up hitting the tornado DDT. Starks goes for the cover, and we get a kick out. He goes to the top, and then he misses the elbow when Punk gets up. Punk manages to go for the short arm lariat, and then we get a cover into near fall. Both Punk and Starks knock each other down with a double clothesline. Then Punk and Starks goes for a series of exchanges. Starks then hits repeated elbows on CM Punk. Then he sends Punk to the corner, but then Punk gets caught by Ricky Starks. Then what happens is Punk reverses into a pile driver, and he ends up actually hitting the pile driver on Ricky Starks. And this is where really the match starts to get a little bit more intense. We get a cover by Punk and a kick out. Punk picks up Starks, and Starks drives his elbows down. We get a spear by Ricky Starks, and I will always say this, man. Ricky Starks has like the fucking cleanest and smoothest spear I've ever seen in my life. Just like Powerhouse Hobbs has the smoothest fucking pile driver, Ricky Starks has the smoothest fucking spear in the business today. Forget Edge. You got Ricky Starks and his amazing fucking spear. But he ends up hitting the spear, right? And what happens is I completely forgot where I was on my notes. So we get the spear by Starks, but then Punk is smart. So this is what I liked about this match. So after CM Punk got hit with the spear, Punk immediately retreats to the outside. So he's not stupid. He knows that Starks is going to go for the cover, and most likely he's going to get the win. So Punk's like, no, fuck you. I'm going to the outside. Once we're back into the ring, Starks tries to go for the spear, but Punk retreats. And this spot, this is what I can tell. Punk is very comfortable right now in the ring. Starks tries to go for a second spear, and Punk retreats and rolls through and applies a front face lock on Ricky Starks. I don't care what anybody says. That looked fucking badass. That looked badass. He applied the front face lock. The way he rolled through like that, very flexible, and that was very smooth as well. Starks gets taken to the top. We get a Hurricane Rana, and this is where the match ended. So we get a Hurricane Rana, the head scissors by CM Punk. So CM Punk goes for the Hurricane Rana off the top, but we get a series of roll-up reversals by both men. And what happens is Starks ends up going for the roll-up on CM Punk. He goes for the roll-up and holds onto the rope. He holds onto the rope, steals the victory over CM Punk. And Ricky Starks is your winner of the 2023 Men's Owen Hart Cup Tournament. After that, Punk is just absolutely shocked. And what happens, he runs up to the stage. He sees Jushin Thunder Liger. Yes, Jushin Thunder Liger flew all the way to Calgary to present the Owen Hart Cup to the winner. And he just snatches the cup away from Jushin Thunder Liger. And Jushin Thunder Liger was like, what the fuck are you doing? And Starks leaves. And Punk is literally in the center of the ring, just having this shocked look on his face. And Collision ends. All right. What are my thoughts on this match? Overall, I thought this match was phenomenal. I thought this was great. This was probably one of the better CM Punk matches that we've seen. Of course, last week we saw CM Punk versus Samoa Joe, which was great. Was it the best match that they had? No, but it got the job done, and it told a great story. This match did everything that it needed to do. I personally thought CM Punk was going to get the win. Another thing that I thought was actually going to be happening in this match was I did think that Ricky Starks definitely had a chance of winning, but I thought, Samoa Joe was going to come in and cost CM Punk the match in some way, shape, or form. We had no Samoa Joe on this show, which sucks in my opinion because, of course, I'm hoping, and it looks like we're going to be getting a program between CM Punk and Samoa Joe after the events of last week's match, after the match between CM Punk and Samoa Joe when CM Punk stole the victory over Samoa Joe. I believe we're still going to be getting that program, but as of right now, we didn't get any Samoa Joe on this show. But nonetheless, the real story is Ricky Starks and the way he won. Very heel tendencies when it comes to Ricky Starks, of course. He used the rope to get the win, and he snatched the cup away from the hands of Juice and Thunder Liger. Could we be on the verge of seeing a heel turn with Ricky Starks? Honestly, if I was a betting man, I genuinely believe, yes, we are going to be getting a heel turn with Ricky Starks. Now, I know Ricky Starks just turned babyface last summer. I get it. Okay, he's been a heel ever since he came in to AEW a couple of years prior during the pandemic. But, and this is a big but, and this is the biggest takeaway that I have, man. What has Ricky Starks done as a babyface ever since the MJF match at Winter's Coming last December and ever since the Jericho match? What really has he been doing? He's been feuding with Bullet Club Gold. And look, Ricky Starks is great as a babyface. And I get it. He was just a heel last year. But what would you rather prefer, you the viewer watching Ricky Starks? We all know Ricky Starks is great whatever side he is on. But let's be real here. Ricky Starks works so much better as a heel than he is a babyface. Trust me, don't get me wrong. I think Ricky Starks is great as a babyface and he's very believable. If you don't believe me, look at the promo that he cut on MJF the week before their Winter's Coming match. That segment was phenomenal. But again, as a heel, Ricky Starks is just that brash son of a bitch, and he's just that guy that you just want to slap the shit out of. That is the best heel, character for Ricky Starks. And I will go as far as to say, what if we have a scenario if Ricky Starks ends up joining Bullet Club Gold? A lot of people have been talking about that. What if he joins Bullet Club Gold? Honestly, I am definitely in favor of that because, again, it adds more strength into Bullet Club Gold, and we do not know where Bullet Club Gold is going to be in a year, but I made the prediction with the way that they're being booked right now, they're going to be the top faction in AEW within a year. I think it can do wonders for Ricky Starks as a whole. But it's very interesting. I think we're on the verge of a Ricky Starks heel turn. Could we be seeing a one-on-one feud between CM Punk and Ricky Starks? We have absolutely no idea. It's very interesting to see what's going to be happening. But again, another thing is what is going on with Samoa Joe, because we didn't get any Samoa Joe involvement in this match as I expected last week, because I predicted Joe was going to cost Punk the match. Do I think we're going to be getting a one-on-one program with Samoa Joe? Absolutely, we are. But also, what role does Jay White have to play in? Because we all know we're eventually going to be getting a Jay White versus CM Punk match as well. It's another match people are definitely looking forward to. And a lot of people are making the prediction that we could possibly be seeing that match at Wembley at All In. So very interesting developments. CM Punk definitely has his plate full when it comes to potential matches that we could be possibly seeing. And that is exactly what I like, man. There is direction with CM Punk, and that is exactly what I like. Now, what's interesting about this match as well was that CM Punk got a very, 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 very mixed reaction. Very mixed reaction. There was one hand, the crowd loved Ricky Starks, and the other side loved CM Punk. This is going to be a major test, man. AEW was in Canada for the past couple of weeks. It's going to be very interesting to see what happens next week. I'm going to be there live on Collision. You guys are probably going to be seeing me. The hard camera, I'm literally going to be like where the hard, not next to the hard cam, but in front of the hard cam. I'm going to be literally in front of the hard cam, and you guys are going to be seeing me on fucking TV. But, bro, Newark, New Jersey is going to be a ruthless fucking crowd next week. The show is almost sold out. I believe it's like 5,000 seats sold for the Prudential Center show, which are the amount of tickets that are available. And even though, if you think about it, Prudential Center is like a 12,000 seat arena and only 5,000 seats. That's the amount of seats that they were selling, but whatever. That's another topic for another time. But when it comes to the Prudential Center crowd, when it comes to the New Jersey crowd, New Jersey is one of those crowds that are definitely hostile. And I remember at Full Gear, and I told the story before, but we chanted "fuck CM Punk" during the Elite versus Death Triangle match. I don't know, man. I think CM Punk is going to get those mega boos from the crowd. We're going to have to wait and see what goes down, but it's going to be very interesting to see what happens with CM Punk. I'm definitely curious, and especially coming off of this reaction, I'm interested and I'm invested. So yeah, those are my thoughts on Ricky Starks versus CM Punk. But yeah, that was my AEW Collision review from July 15th, 2023. Overall thoughts on this show. I thought the show was great. I absolutely loved this show for what it was. The show flowed very well. The 2 out of 3 falls match was probably, if not the best thing on this entire show. That was the opening match. Bro, that was probably one of the best tag team matches AEW has ever done in the company's history. And I'm not even joking when I say that. That's probably one of the best tag team matches that they've ever done. But overall, man, it was a phenomenal match. I loved it. It was just great stuff. Everybody just gave it their all. Jay White, that match did more for Jay White than a lot of people even thought of, even though they lost. We had CM Punk versus Ricky Starks in the finals. Starks shockingly won. A lot of people thought Punk was going to win, but Starks won. The women's finals was not really the best match, but I personally thought it was fine. And really, the show just flowed very well, in my opinion, and I thought it was a great show, man. Collision is definitely clearly better than Dynamite. Say what you want about the television ratings. Trust me, the ratings are not really the best. But for a Saturday night show, I think that's kind of the numbers you would expect. But also, if you really think about it creatively, Collision is clearly better than Dynamite. Just clearly better than Dynamite because there's more stories being told on Collision than there are on Dynamite. Even though the show is not there, it's not like a legit brand split, but it's kind of in a way, as everybody's saying, a soft brand split where you'd have stories that would overlap on Dynamite and Collision, but you would also have stories that would be exclusive to Dynamite and Collision. So it's great stuff that's going on Collision, and overall, I'm definitely excited for next week considering I'm going to be attending AEW Collision next week. So it's going to be very fun to see what happens, but yeah, those are my thoughts on AEW Collision. That was my AEW Collision review from July 15th, 2023. Please like, subscribe, comment down below, push that bell for notifications, and look out for more videos right here on the WrestleHavoc Podcast in which we discuss everything in and outside of the squared circle. Make sure to like and subscribe for more content, and as the freaking referee would say, ring, ring, ring that damn bell for more notifications. And as always, it is yours truly, Flamin' Ricky DeRays, signing out. I'll see you guys later. Peace.